This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Friday, February the 26th. Race number 8 at Oaklawn Park. Let's throw up the field for this nice optional claiming event. You can download free Formulator Pass performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Morning line favorite in very sharp form, Mike. That's the 5-7 Nation Army, who's dropping in class a little bit off a solid enough effort against Stakes Company over wet going.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see why he's the morning line favorite, Dan. His last 2 races, in fact, are both pretty fast. They're also both over wet tracks.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. We're expecting a fast pace. The 10 Fire Crow is a fast horse. I would expect him to be out there from that outside post. Nuclear Option, the 7, also can get up close to the pace. Jalen Journey is kind of a presser. I think Strike That's going to rate off the pace as he did 2 starts back. Mojo Man's kind of the key for me, Mike, because he can do a little bit of anything.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't draw well down on the rail, but he could certainly show speed, but he doesn't have to show speed. I actually felt like the horse who might show speed, who's not up there on the pace projector, is the 3 Gold Street. We'll see what he does.
That horse showed a lot of speed when he was briefly on the Kentucky Derby Trail last year. Let's see if he has 3/4 of a mile speed on perhaps a dry track. We'll begin with Mojo Man, who we see sitting up close on the Timeform US pace projector. Second start of the form cycle. I thought he ran pretty well last time, Mike. First time this meet at Oaklawn. He was up on a pretty solid pace, and he paid the price. He'll be tighter this time.
Yeah, he should be. That was off a little bit of a layoff. It was also, again, a situation where they went forward with him, which you don't have to do. He's the kind of horse who feels like he's pretty tactical as far as, whether you want to send him or take him back, he'll run either way. I also felt like, Dan, and I can't, say this with 100% confidence because I don't follow Oaklawn closely enough maybe, but man, I feel like that January 22nd card was a day where you didn't want to be on the rail, and he was on the rail contesting the pace the entire way.
I tend to agree with you on that, Mike. It looked like closers and horses racing on the outside did best. Mojo Man was down inside, pushing that pace. Maybe he's a bit dirtied up. Let's watch Strike That's race. 2 starts back. Now winners of 3 other than. He got a good pace to attack, and he got a nice trip. He was tracking a 5-ply pace duel by himself, angled out a little bit into the stretch, and he's going to run these horses down. He did beat 2 next out winners, and based on the strength of the 100 buyer speed figure, he was sent off 4-1 against next out Cigar Mile winner True Timber, next out graded stakes winner Sleepy Eyes Todd. Unfortunately, he fell over a fallen foe in that race.
Yeah, he ran pretty well here. As you mentioned, though, he got the triple-digit buyer there and a career best for him with an absolutely perfect trip. And I also was concerned, Dan, because when he won at Saratoga a couple starts prior to that, another perfect trip on a very soft pace that he was up. I respect that he has figures. I respect that he's versatile. But, man, I just can't help but wonder if he's a little bit dressed up.
And he's probably going to take a little bit more money than the morning line, 5-1, with that 100 buyer speed figure staring us all in the face. You mentioned Gold Street, and he does have sprint speed. He looked like a very promising sprinter last year when he won the Sugar Bowl, and then he just took advantage in the Smarty Jones, a 2-turn race over a wet track that he loves, and there was no pace in that race. He was able to walk the dog on the lead and sprint on home over kind of a weak field looking back. And after that, he was thrown to the wolves in the Southwest and the Oaklawn. I like this layoff for this horse, Mike. The question is, can he run on fast going?
Yeah, true. I mean, you mentioned all the things that you have to be concerned about with him, Dan. I mean, he looks like he has some ability for sure, but 3 straight wet tracks, a couple of them where he didn't have to work that hard up on the lead. So it's still pretty hard to tell how good he is. But listen, he might be a fair price in this race. And you know what? Maybe he is pretty good.
KJ's Nobility is the number 4 in Arkansas bred, and a hard-hitting one at that. He has won 9 times in his career, and he ran well off the long layoff last time out, only beaten a length and 3/4, maybe getting to the best part of the track a little bit late in the game. Second off the layoff, if this pace is fast, he can come with a run. I think he might need to take a little bit of a step forward because this is a tough group.
It does sort of feel like if everybody shows up with their good race here, he might be up against it a little bit, but he might have some pace to attack. We already talked about that January 22nd race. He spent a lot of time on the rail, got to the outside very late, and then passed a bunch of horses pretty quickly. But he did run okay last time, I thought.
Seven Nation Army earned a big figure 2 starts back at Churchill Downs and proved that race was no fluke last time out in the King Cotton Stakes. We're going to watch that race, and he had a pretty good trip up close to a moderate pace over a wet track that he likes, and I need him here, Mike. He's 7-2. He's going to grind down this horse on the lead, and Boldor from Delta Downs is going to run right over the top of him.
Yeah, Boldor, that's 2 in a row for Boldor from way out of it, getting up in time. That horse is in good form. I have no knocks on Seven Nation Army, Dan. I mean, I guess you could question how short a price you would want to take on him against this kind of a field. But, even though his last 2 races are on wet tracks, it's not like he hasn't run perfectly fine on fast dirt in the past. So I don't think you have to worry about surface with him.
Jalen Journey is stepping up in class, but it looks like Steve Asmussen's figured this horse out. He got him from Peter Miller. He gave him a long time off. He's won his last 2 starts pretty handily, and last time I know he was only in for the 50,000. Let's watch that race right now for Jalen Journey. He pressed the pace. He then just goes right on with it. But the 7th place horse in this race came back to win. I know it was at Mahoning Valley, but he earned a 95 buyer.
It'll be interesting to see what this horse does because he's got back class. At first glance, when you see that he's won his last 2 starts, for $40,000 and $50,000 tags, you feel like, man, stepping up into an allowance race like this is pretty tough because this is a really strong field. But he's got the back class to do it. I mean, he was grade 1 place for Miller.
The number 7 is Nuclear Option, who finished ahead of 3 of these common rivals in his first start of this Oaklawn meet. Let's watch that race right now. He earned a 92 buyer speed figure. And again, he might have been on the best part of the track. We see him. He's on the outside. We also see he is 43-1 in this race. He'll still be a price, but it'll be a fraction of the 43-1. I kind of need to see it again.
Yeah, I feel the same way about him. He did run well in here. He's going to get run down late by a horse who came from out of it, and he was part of the pace the whole way, but such a big price, and it feels like he was on the best part of the track.
Tough Love also comes out of that race, but the issue with Tough Love was he just didn't break very well, and that took him right out of his game. He was 5-1 in that spot. He could be triple that price in here, and he has a couple of races, including that 3 starts back, that would make him very competitive.
Yeah, I feel like that if he's going to really be 15-1, I think that's probably the way you want to look at him, Dan. I don't know, what his excuse was for the last one. You're right that he didn't break great, but after that, he just really didn't do that much. So it was pretty disappointing. His prior races, though, feel like they give him a real chance in here.
The number 9 Guest Suite's always been a solid horse, going a little bit longer, especially when there's some give in the ground. He won the grade 3 Lecomte way back in 2017 over Muddy Going. He won the 5th season, or a division of the 5th season, last year at Oaklawn over Muddy Going. Now he's going to make his first start off of a very long layoff, turning back. And to me, this just feels like a prep for something longer. I'm not sure he's a sprinter.
Yeah, I'm going to look at him that way too. Although I will admit, there is a race when you go back to 2019 where it was sort of a similar situation. Dan, he was off the layoff. They were sprinting him off of that break, and he actually made a big late run in there to just miss. So maybe he can do it in here, but this is a pretty tough field.
And he might get the right pace set up because the 10 Firecrow is one of the pace presences in here. He was beaten by the aforementioned Boldor last time out in the Samstown after battling on the lead. Boldor came back. Of course, we saw him win the King Cotton with a 100 buyer speed figure. He has speed, but boy, it seems like there are other pace horses just waiting to battle him early.
It does feel like he could be in line for a tough trip. I mean, listen, he ran here 3 times last winter at the meet. He ran well in all of those races. So it feels like there could be some upside still with this horse, but he's going to have to show it here.
Wide open race for the Friday race of the day. Let's throw up our top selections. I do respect the 5-7 Nation Army. I'm not really sure I want to go too short with him. However, I think strike that. If he runs his race at Keeneland, obviously with that 100 buyer, he's going to be right there. And he's the kind of horse that, as Mike mentioned, he seems to work out good trips, and maybe another good pace scenario at the very least is coming here.
Yeah, I respect his versatility too, and he's very consistent. So I can see him running a good race here. I kind of wanted to stay away from the favorites as much as I could here, Dan, because I think the race is so wide open. I'm going to give Mojo Man a chance here. He's probably going to have to sit in this race, but he's done that before. He should be a price.
And I got Mojo Man in there in 4th. I respect him as well. I thought his last race, as Mike mentioned, maybe dirties him up a bit, and the price will be right. 1274 for Mike, 2571 for me. It's the Friday race of the day, the 8th at Oaklawn. Best of luck.